one illustration of an experiment done by psychologists looking at the effects of urbanicity on the human brain. This is, you might have heard something about this study. It actually got a fair bit of media attention. It was a study that was done with German participants, but it was a Canada-German collaboration. And the idea was to compare the brains of people who had grown up or lived in different sizes of development. So a comparison of people who lived in very large cities, people who lived in small towns, and people who lived in rural settings. And the focus of the study was on a brain structure called the amygdala. So the amygdala is buried inside your temporal lobe. I'm sort of pointing to my own amygdala. I hope there's one in there. Pretty sure there is. And we know that it mediates a lot of our emotional reactions to events that take place in the world. And that's kind of a big oversimplification of the amygdala, but it'll do for this experiment. So what was done in this experiment was to take these different groups of people who had these different styles of life and different kinds of upbringings, and to put them in an MRI machine, a big magnet basically, that could measure the activity of their amygdala, and then to challenge their amygdala in interesting ways. And psychologists are so great at thinking up the most nefarious things to do to people. We really are. So in this experiment, what was used was something called the Montreal stress test, Montreal stress imaging test. And the way that it works is that while you're in the MRI machine, and anybody here who's had their head in one of these tubes knows that it's all by itself not all that great an experience. You're lying on your back, your head's being measured, and you're being presented with mathematical questions, mental arithmetic questions. I think they were 2-digit multipliers. And so the questions are flashed on a screen. Your job is to answer the questions. While you're doing this, and this is the stress part, as if all of that wasn't enough, there's a social stress. And the social stress is that you can hear people in the room, the experimenters, and this is a setup, so you think that this is happening by accident, but what the people are saying is things like, oh my God, I can't believe he got that one wrong. Or, wow, she hasn't gotten a single question right yet. So you're getting this false feedback that you're completely bombing this test while everything else is going on. And the fascinating thing about the study was that it lit up a really strong group effect. So people who lived in big cities, their amygdala basically was going crazy under this kind of social stress. And people who lived in smaller settings or in the countryside didn't show those same kinds of effects. So here's a little bit of evidence, that one kind of evidence, that living in a city, living among large groups of strangers, which given our evolutionary lineage is something that's a really strange kind of way of living, actually changes the way that your brain works. So